Dobar dan, draga naša publiko, i dobrodošli na jedno predavanje koje je meni iznimno, evo i osobno zanimljivo, a nadam se da će biti i vama. Jedno od rijetkih predavanja na ovom Weekend Media festivalu koje govori o tome ne kako bi nešto mogli postići, nego dokle bismo smjeli ići. Znači, konkretno, razgovarat ćemo o umjetnoj inteligenciji, kognitivnoj inteligenciji i o tome zapravo koliko s jedne strane je obožavamo i drago nam je da postoji napredak koji će pogoditi što mi želimo, ali s druge strane se naravno pribojavamo i pitamo se da li ona ima pravo zadirati tako duboko u našu intimu kao što sada zadire, a tek kako će ići u prošlosti. Evo, baš na prošlom panelu, jučer na panelu je bilo riječi o jednoj kompaniji koja je za potrebe jedne nagradne igre napravila bota koji je komunicirao sa natjecateljima u nagradnoj igri, znači sa širokom publikom. Kad je natjecanje, nagradna igra završila, evo, brand je ostavio reda radi tog bota, ljudi su i dalje tjednima i mjesecima nakon toga razgovarali s tim botom, znajući da je bot, a opet su stvorili neku emotivnu vezu. Sad, gdje je tu granica? Puno o tome ćemo moći popričati danas sa našim gostom. Imat ćete vi šanse u Q&A sesiji razgovarati na te i druge teme. Naš gost se zalaže za etički kodeks. Ipak tu mora postati neka mjera. A za šta se zalažete vi? To ćemo vidjeti u Q&A-u. Ostavit ćemo to do kraja predavanja. Molim jedan veliki aplauz za našeg gosta Jasona Jercinovića, kako bi rekli na hrvatskom, jer je poreklom iz Hrvatske, iz Havasa. Jason, welcome.
Welcome to my masquerade.
What people have been talking about, right? What are the conversations going on and what's capturing their emotions?
And right up until, 4 a.m. we thought the model was wrong, and then, hey, guess what, it wasn't. He got it right.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to talk with you a little bit about my point of view on artificial intelligence and the future of advertising and marketing. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time in Croatia, and being Croatian, it's excellent. We live now in a world that is powered by algorithms. Billions of artificial intelligence calls happen every second as we have fundamentally revolutionized how we live. People all around the world interact with artificial intelligence on a daily basis through how they connect with their people, how they get around, how they talk to each other, how they connect via social. Who do I date? What do I watch? What do I buy? How do I buy? So AI drives how we connect, how we work, how we play, how we meet, how we live, and how we consume content, and for many of us in this room, most importantly, how we market. So we soak up data like sponges. We hoard it. We've been living in the age where we have access to data, and we need to make sense of it. For years, we have gorged ourselves on this data. And who could blame us? As an industry that has been starved of hard data for decades, We've been forced to use unreliable inputs like focus groups and customer surveys. But in the digital age in which we live in, the floodgates are open, and data rushes in, and we dive in head first into the world of data-driven marketing and individualized brand experiences. And over the past couple of decades, we've been very busy collecting this information. We have mountains of information about consumers. Then the AI spring. The AI spring that we live in now has happened. And this has occurred for a couple reasons. There's the powerful rise of cloud computing, which gives us unlimited processing on demand and easy access to artificial intelligence APIs, which let us hammer on that data to make sense of it. And AI is the perfect tool to do that, because we can make sense out of that mess with precision. We can build powerful tools that enable us to drive deep insights into this data. And that's fundamentally changing the nature of advertising and marketing. You see, there's this new virtuous cycle emerged that enables you to act on that cognitive data. The data gives you information about an individual, their personality, their values, their needs, and that enables brands to enter into a way that's more than traditional market segmentation or behavioral data, but enabling you to create custom experiences, cognitively powered experiences that short-circuit the traditional purchase process, that go directly from one click to loyalty. And in doing that, we can create new types of content that are personalized for each of us, and we could do this at scale. And then we have more data, which drives more experiences, which drives more content. So we now mine the data, and we correlate that with adjacent data sets, your location, your search history, offline retail histories, what magazines you read, what newspapers you read, where you go. So the marketing industry has opportunities that really we've never dreamed of, right? We can do this at scale. We can do this in an automated way. And that gives us three things. That gives us the ability to understand people at a deep and personal level. Not me as a segment, but me as Jason, my wants and desires. And then we could target custom-crafted offers and experiences to people at that individual level with laser efficiency. We create programs and campaigns that are really effective. And this is not just hype, right? This stuff really works. You guys respond to algorithmically driven content in your feeds every day, and it's good, it works. So now we know more about our audience than we ever have before. And we use AI to make sense of it. We make sense of our digital exhaust of us as people. And we analyze the entirety of a consumer's activity, from your Facebook post to your latest Twitter or Snapchat pithy insight. Really every word, every image, every emoji, all of it. And we put it to use. And when you combine a powerful enough data set with these new AI tools, you can predict the future. And you may even be able to go beyond just affecting it and actually control behavior, driving wants and desires, affecting how people think, what they want, what they listen to, who they want to be with, who to date, who to marry, or perhaps even elections. So I want to be clear. I'm not suggesting that we as an industry turn away from this, because data-driven marketing enables us to do what we do. We are in the persuasion business. On the contrary, data plus AI offers us an extraordinary opportunity to remove the inefficiencies of our current approaches and deliver targeted relevance at scale. And that's valuable to our clients, and it's actually valuable to us as consumers to see the things that we want. And yes, we are in the business of affecting people's decisions. But as marketers, and more importantly as human beings, these powerful tools introduce real existential dilemmas, and with great power comes great responsibility. So now is the time we need to understand the power of this technology and train the systems so the outcomes benefit us, and to design experiences and effective marketing, of course, but with the restraint that comes with ethical maturity. And the stakes are significant. You know, as we learned a few minutes ago from our friend at Google, evolution in AI image analysis is staggering. I could pretty much tell the difference between dogs like Chihuahuas and Chivas compared to muffins or roasted marshmallows, and even Poolies versus Mops. Pretty cool. But Google Photos has given us a remarkable approximation of a person's age or the age of the photo because it has seen such a large data set, and it has seen so many photos over time and has been trained against that data set. And tech giants like Facebook and Google and others use these to create automated stories that trigger emotional moments. Perhaps you've seen some of these. I saw one recently that really was great. It was called They Grow Up So Fast, and it was all the photos of my kids taken over time in a nice emotional video that was just, created by Google for me. Recent research at Stanford has indicated that machine vision could possibly infer sexual orientation by analyzing people's faces. This has raised all kinds of questions about the right of software to violate people's privacy or to enable abuse. Researchers have suggested that even picking up on the subtle differences about facial structure, coupled with the right data, means that we might be able to spot other intimate traits, such as, IQ, political views. Just because we as humans can't see these tells in your face doesn't mean that the automated systems cannot see those. And Facebook has enabled advertisers to target users with offensive terms. We know that bad agents have used social media to contribute to sketchy outcomes. We know Russian operatives have used Facebook ads to influence the US election. In Myanmar, activists are using Facebook to censor Muslims who are under attack from the country's military. And in Africa, social networking is facing accusations of helping human traffickers extort victims' families by posting abusive videos. And this is really a moment where you see that was never the intent. Obviously, we wanted to connect the world, not create a mechanism to do bad. But we can't assume that we can control when we've brought it to life when it's an automated AI system. So let's dive into how this works a little bit. Let's talk about Cambridge Analytica. And I can't resist because I've been on a rampage against these guys for a couple years now. And these are actually screenshots from when I spoke at a conference next to the ex-CEO, I would say, of Cambridge Analytica, when he disclosed in a very sort of clear way how the system works. And when you look at a system like this is what we want as marketers, right? So I'll just talk you through this real quick. We want to collect social data from Facebook and Twitter, and that's perfectly legal. It's okay to do that. And then you could buy and acquire other data sets, such as where you were, where you go, your shopping habits, where you go to church, your search history, what books you buy, the kind of stuff that's really readily accessible in the data exchange. And then you crunch that information, and then you pull it together in terms of a behavioral marketing, micro-targeting application that creates individual advertising. In other words, you're using this information to create ads that tug on your emotional biases. And these ads, well, maybe they're not really ads, but really synthetic news objects that then get liked and shared and retweeted. And this often happens in a very micro-targeted filter bubble, a small bubble, that propagates misinformation and mistrust and fear. And Cambridge Analytica was able to use this real-time information to determine which messages were resonating with which audiences where, and even shape the real-time media buy of the election. So the candidate's travel schedule was changed, and if there was a spike in clicks in, talking about something about immigration in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, then you could talk about immigration in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And this became a lifeblood of a pulse of this community. And then by micro-targeting and really honing in on those emotional biases, you can get people to vote in a way that maybe they weren't going to vote, or not vote, or vote the other way. And when you consider only a few thousand votes in a couple of swing states decided our last election, this is no small thing. Remember, Trump won the race, but didn't win the popular vote. So we know these tools can create sketchy outcomes, right? And there's a lot we don't know. We don't really know how much the Russians were involved. We don't really know Mercer's ties. We don't know if the Trump campaign organized this disinformation campaign. We only know that there's many points of overlap. And some say where there's smoke, there's fire, but we have to prove this. And if anyone in the campaign, say, did coordinate, we don't even know if Trump himself was involved in it. Is he that smart to do it? Who knows, right? But if it did, we don't know for sure how much it helped or really didn't. So this really blew up, right? We know there's other examples of how Cambridge Analytica worked on other campaigns. And lots of researchers and critics think that that company's capabilities were a bit overblown and it's really hype and it didn't really work. But we really don't know. The point is that they've publicly admitted these capabilities and they claim to be able to do so. And we've seen outcomes that correspond with that intent. So we know that companies like Cambridge Analytica and others have changed the world. And we're able to deliver these stories on an individual basis on social media where feeds are being grabbed and propagated in certain directions, and these posts and stories are being seen and even believed. Earlier this year, it looked like we were perhaps onto something and there was change. Media attention was heating up. Articles like these were happening almost every day. And then a little bit later, Cambridge Analytica went out of business, reformed into a new company. And we've seen this cycle of boom and bust before. We've seen this movie. Industry after industry has experienced this kind of boom and bust cycle. You remember .com, you remember Wall Street, bad bankers, the mortgage-backed security scandal, Lehman Brothers. History has taught us that when the ups in the boom cycle happen, it's often predicated on taking advantage of unwitting consumers who are uneducated and uninformed, and the consequences of this bust cycle are dire. And there's a spectrum of consequences. It could be as simple as bad press, maybe the stock price goes down a little bit, someone gets fired, we got some PR stuff going on, congressional hearings aren't fun, it's never fun to get up in front of Congress, which you can see Mr. Zuck here sweating a little bit. And so maybe there's some losses, maybe there's regulation, maybe not. But let's look at this objectively. That dot shows you where Cambridge Analytica happened, and there was a bit of a drop, but the Facebook stock price is right about where it was about a year ago. And one thing that's interesting is advertisers themselves, and I'm speaking from a personal experience, are more concerned that Facebook is going to cut off access to this data, which they have become addicted to, because it works. So it's not going to go away. And Facebook has to toe this line, and others. This isn't just about Facebook, by the way, but it has to toe the line between doing the right thing for the business, which is driving billions of dollars of profit every quarter, and the right thing for us as users, so we keep using the platform. And people are not dropping Facebook. I mean, I tried for about a day. I lasted. And other people perhaps did the same thing. Oh, right, there's Instagram too. That's not really Facebook, right? But it kind of is. So Facebook's under fire. Everybody's under fire. And if you want to understand more about this, read this article about weaponizing Facebook from Bloomberg. And this is really about the Philippine election. I'm not going to go too much into it now, but it shows you how really this works in a very simple way. And what's different from that and me as a marketer from doing the same thing to get you to buy more cheeseburgers, right? Is there a difference? The last Facebook developer conference, F8, they announced that all of the Instagram photos that we're posting now are being used to train the AI within Facebook. So it's important that we know that we've really just scratched the surface in terms of how this system works. And it's difficult to retrofit safety into these AI systems. We need to build the ethical point of view into these systems as we continue to evolve them. This, coupled with the lack of independent review organizations, any regulation to oversee these algorithmic operations, even understanding of how the algorithms themselves work, and the increasing use of what's called black box components, where you have the system train the system on how to become more efficient in the creation of custom algorithms, mean we have important problems here. And it's important to talk about synthetic media for a second, because the takeaway here is that we must question the truth in everything. Because this is not just fake news. AI can power the image and video creation of anything. We could make anybody say anything. And the difference between fake news and synthetic media is that there's intent. Perhaps intent to do bad, or I shouldn't make the decision of whether I want that intent or not, at least. And you should too. So not only do we as consumers need to question what we see as truth, but we as marketers need to lead that, right? We need to promote the necessity of dialogue about truth.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. Now, you see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. That's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources. It may sound basic, but how we move forward in the age of information is going to be the difference between whether we survive or whether we become some kind of fucked up dystopia. Thank you, and stay woke, bitches.
So what do? We need a system of trust, right? We know in the post-truth age that trust is at risk. As consumers become increasingly aware of how their data is used and misused in the pursuit of politics, profit, or platforms, we as marketers need to lead our brands into the promised land and avoid the minefield. And we must hold ourselves accountable. Perhaps call it self-preservation, call it enlightened self-interest, whatever you call it. We must maintain a fragile trust between agencies, clients, and consumers, and that trust really supports, however shakily, the foundation of our industry. And there's a fine line between what we can do and what we should do, between what we can know and what we should know. And to paraphrase Hume, doesn't imply ought. And what I mean by that is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And so here's a few simple rules that we at Havas like to roll out. And maybe you take this as a guide for your approach to using AI to drive personal marketing. And we've developed these practices over many years of doing AI work with clients, and they're based on our belief that brands need to develop healthy, long-term, meaningful relationships with their customers, and brands that have that meaningful relationship will win and survive. And with any relationship, trust is an essential ingredient. So rule number 1, radical transparency. And this is a big deal. People have a hard time with this. This is about being honest about your intentions and your actions. This is about telling consumers how and why you're using their data and opening up that black box to make the value exchange be very clear. And many people are doing a great job with this. How do I get it? What does it mean? How does it work? Explain it in simple, clear language that doesn't require a lawyer or even the fact that we won't even read their terms and conditions. We have also been a leader in this for many years, and we were the first to challenge Google and YouTube explicitly regarding brand safety. Additionally, we're the first to launch a transparent media platform. If you're not comfortable doing this, it's a pretty good sign that you're not on solid moral ground, right? So, second rule, provide user the option. And with GDPR, we're seeing actually some stuff coming in where we have to legally do this, but it's still kind of a gray area, really. But give them the option to not participate. It's their data. We should have a say in how the data is used. It's important to respect the fundamental need of us as people to define, access, and manage that personal data and really be curators of our own digital identity across platforms, ideally. So opt in first and then definitely be able to opt out. Rule number 3, this is not a static system. We are constantly evolving. So this is not fixed. We must be willing to live and change and evolve and show we're wrong, make mistakes and continue. To know that as marketers, we will face new ethical questions every day, and we will make more mistakes, and be humble and accountable and honest, and make commitments and try to communicate with your markets with those commitments, and follow through on those promises. And then will be a culture of acceptance, and this new ground will be able to change and evolve. Trust is an essential element of meaningfulness. If one of the legs of the table falls down, no one will shed a tear if your brand vanishes tomorrow. How many brands have you seen in your lifetime that used to be something that are not? How many of you are crying over Kodak, Toys R Us, retail stores going out of business? I get my stuff quicker, better, faster, cheaper. We're not crying, but this is a long game. Trust takes years to build and seconds to lose. And hopefully, what I'm trying to communicate to you today is that this is the right way to do business. It is the ethical way of doing businesses. And if you ask yourself, what is the brand benefit from taking the high road? Trust can be the differentiator. So we at Havas call this meaningfulness, and we have a metric, and we believe having an ethical framework at the basis of your brand comms can help increase brand's meaning. And perhaps I believe, at least, this is one of the most critical components of the future of your brand. And our studies about global brands and meaningful brands have shown that most brands could disappear and consumers wouldn't care. This isn't about advertising, this is about survival. Brand owners need to know that to be wanted, your customer must embrace you and I think must embrace trust in this age of AI. So, I can show you a case study, because this is not just theory, and I want to make sure you understand we're applying some neat stuff. I'm going to take you through an example of a campaign we did to launch The Young Pope. I don't know if you guys know this, but The Young Pope is a TV series starring Jude Law, co-produced by Sky, HBO, and Canal+. And it's a series about the first American pope in history. He's a young, charismatic, tech-savvy, struggling with his own internal demons and desperate to give his flock a God that they can relate to. And Havas is a long-standing partner with Canal+, so we have their trust, and we're able to propose a pretty radical campaign in which the young pope himself uses artificial intelligence and social media to bring the word of God to the masses.
There's a new pope in town, His Holiness Pius XIII, and he has his own series on Canal+, The Young Pope. Different, unconventional, iconoclast. He decided to show the world how modern he is, not by shouting it from the balcony of the Vatican, but rather on social networks, by addressing in particular the millions of sinners to be found there, and by replying to each of their posts in real time with witty answers and quoting only the Bible.
Steven, just shut up and go f*** yourself.
Love each other in the same way that I have loved you. John 15:12.
Trump just called Clinton a nasty woman. Bitch seems more appropriate.
Avoid all perverse talk. Stay away from corrupt speech. Proverbs 4:24.
But since this man is not a god, just a pope, and since he has to answer millions of people, we gave him a digital aid in the form of an artificial intelligence, shaped in his image, powered by IBM Watson, and baptized Amen. It knows the 39,000 verses of the Bible as well as he does, thinks like him, and is as compassionate and humorous as he is.
Freshly arrived pizza. Time to feast.
But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Luke 14:13.
Flagrant foul on Ronaldo. Is the referee blind?
Be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. Job 33:33.
Just run 10 kilometers in 50 minutes. Who's the best, losers?
Do not keep talking so proudly or let your mouth speak such arrogance. Samuel 2:3.
Practical when you're dealing with millions of people. 1 million replies generated by our artificial intelligence. 4 million people reached. The best launch for a series in France. Not bad, right?
Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Ecclesiastes 12:8.
So what was interesting about this is what we have here is a screenshot from the digital experience, and this is the global cloud of sin. From October 13th to November 3rd, approximately 2 weeks of sinners that are mapped and color-coded by platform and sin type. And of the nearly 1 million messages that we send out, if you think about actually writing, manually communicating to 1 million people in 3 weeks, that would take hundreds of people, right? So you see the benefit of the AI being able to automate and communicate to people in a very personal way. We also won some awards, which was nice. It's so good to have the first Cognitive Cannes Lion. We won 4 for that one. So in some ways, this stuff doesn't have to be all that complicated, right? I'm going to break it down for you and ask 2 simple questions that you have to ask yourself before you engage with any marketing effort. And if you do this, chances are you'll be on the right side of the ethical debate. So first, as a consumer, am I okay with brands using my information in this way? And as a brand, would I be okay if what I'm doing was made public? Because really, it probably will be. And so following these golden rules of advertising in the age of AI, you can safeguard the brands that you represent in the industry that we know and love, at least until the next hand gets caught in the cookie jar. Thank you. So do we have any questions?
Yeah, I'm fine. So do you have any questions? We're going to open Q&A session, so don't be shy. Maybe I can start with the question. Well, it was funny listening to you because it keeps reminding me of a friend. Her name is Christina, and she is the only person, younger person like I am, that has never opened any social profile.
Wow.
She doesn't have a Facebook.
Unicorn.
Yeah, not even Twitter. Yeah, unicorn. Yeah, that's right. And she's usually normal. She's an architect, and she's normal in all other aspects. And she is also a successful architect. But nevertheless, we always kind of made fun of her all the time. And maybe now we think, now is the time. Maybe she was the smart one.
She was right all along, huh?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think it's to each his own, right? I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think it's about being knowledgeable, being educated, knowing what we're doing. And it's our duty to teach ourselves and our children the truth about this. And there are those people. I have a couple friends like that, too. But those
really, in America as well?
Yeah, even in America. But those are diamonds, you know, that usually, it's not that way. I mean, I would say 100% of this room has 99.9%.
Anybody without the profile? Wow.
All right, here we go. Another
Can
unicorn.
it be your friends?
Another unicorn.
But
yeah, and that's great, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, increasingly, it's not the way. The platforms are just too good. They work.
Do you miss them? Unicorns? Do you miss those platforms? What is the answer? Not at all. Do you have a job? Do you have friends? So any other questions? Well, I have many questions, but I would like to give a microphone to you because I have enough opportunities to talk to you on dinners, maybe afterwards. So please, don't be shy.
Can it be any hotter? That's my question.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you remember, in the case of Mark Zuckerberg and the judges who were questioning him, it was a bit of a comic
Well, it's
case.
Embarrassing that our senators don't know how the internet works, right?
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And my question is, how do we narrow the gap between how much do we know about technologies and how much users know about technologies, and the level of advanced usage and abusage of the people who are using them?
Well, it's my personal view that we should teach privacy like we teach sexual health. You know, when you have our kids in middle school and high school and we talk to them about drugs and sex, and privacy is the same thing. It's just a responsibility we have as parents for the next generation. Going up the other way, I mean, I don't know. Some of these guys might die soon and be gone, but you know, it definitely shows you the disconnect between the people that are making the laws and a complete misunderstanding of the fast pace of technology. That pace is only going to continue to grow faster, right? You can't slow down. It's only going to get faster. And you can't put the genie back in the box. So even with GDPR, they're planning to put legislations and regulations around it which are promoting good behavior, but there's all kinds of grayness in there, right? So promoting the debate, promoting dialogue about it, promoting discussion, I think that's probably the right thing to do. We're going in the right direction. And just being aware that, question what you see.
Yeah.
Hi. What is your prediction for the future? Which social platforms will lead the way with AI?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. It's hard to see that Facebook's going away anytime soon, right? It's what is it, a third of the planet, something like that. It's bigger than most countries. But there's increased talk about sort of breaking things up. Maybe Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp are not the same things. Like in the past monopolies, when things were broken up, they splintered into different things, and that actually promoted innovation. What's challenging now about AI is that all of the engineers that are coming out of school are snapped up pretty quickly by the big tech companies. And so there's an increasing gap for a competitor to come in and build a platform. And the two things that enable you to have monopolistic dominance are the data and the team. And so by having more and more users and spending money on those teams, they're continuing to maintain the leadership. And anytime an AI company sort of gets up above a couple $100 million in revenue, they end up getting bought by one of these guys. And so they have big cash reserves, and you know, they basically won. Facebook, Amazon, Google, they've won. So there's talk about regulation and the breaking up of that stuff, specifically with Amazon and perhaps spinning off Amazon Cloud Services as a separate business from Amazon e-commerce. So I don't know. We'll see. How's that for a dodge? Pretty good? Good, all right.
In your opinion, how many marketeers, people in marketing, think about these ethical questions?
Not enough. Not enough. That's why I'm here today, to inspire you and have you think about it more. You know, I think it's there. We see a few people out there, brave souls like me, that stir the hornet's nest, you know. But we need to have it be more. Everybody should be talking about it. Because you'll win if you do the right thing.
Yeah, but clients always want some more profits. They don't think about the ways, how you're going to do it.
I know many clients that I've worked with for years, and their companies went out of business. So not everybody, just because you take short-term profits, realizes the long-term value. There's increased focus on quarterly returns and hitting my targets right now. But you know, you have a dialogue about short and long-term. You talk about long-term customer value. That's all you can do.
But is it already too late? I mean, we gave up our data already.
No, it's not too late.
Willingly, I mean.
Well, of course we gave it up, because the benefit back is tremendous. I get to know what my ex-girlfriend from high school is doing right now, right?
Poor her.
But I don't look at her. No, not at all. Not at all. We did, I think, but we also didn't really know at the time to the extent that it was going to evolve. Like, I don't think any of us thought Facebook was going to be the dominant force. But not talking about it is definitely not the right thing. Talking about it seems like the right thing. And doing the right thing with efforts with marketing has seen results. We've seen results with our clients that have proven that to be a market leader thing. So I believe you lead by example, you do the right thing. You know, we've turned down some opportunities and some briefs. And you know, I have another presentation where I go through a Q&A with the audience on ethical questions like, would you do this and would you do not? And some of the briefs that I've seen touch on some of that stuff. For example, at a global liquor brand that was asking us to mine Facebook data to find elements of being on the spectrum of depression and on the side of potentially realizing the benefits of a malted whiskey beverage more than another person could. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. That's not right. You know, that's not the right thing to do. So there are marketers that see this as an opportunity to become more effective, but you know, people that potentially have a greater tendency of being depressive shouldn't be reminded of the benefits of Jack Daniels in the morning, right? So that wasn't the brand, just to be clear. But the point is that those briefs come along and you have to say, no, that's not the right thing. You have to do the right thing. And that takes bravery, and that means sometimes we miss out on opportunities to make revenue, right? But that's the right way to do it.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Do you have any more questions? Because the heating is on already.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm ready for a towel, let me tell you.
Can you turn off the heating? Okay, one more.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Hi, I see social media today as something like smoking, you know? And smoking was cool once, right?
7 out of 10 doctors recommend smoking for long-term health.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, do you see maybe a decline in popularity of social media anytime in the future?
I mean, I definitely see some people, even friends that I know, not as a marketer, but as a individual, people are like, no, I'm done, I've deleted Facebook. And I've also seen people turn off the alerts and be more smart about how they manage their time, take it off the device, only use it on the computer, not let their kids have it. So there's an education, and people need to make their own decisions. But I mean, it's hard to live in this world. I mean, some of you unicorns are sort of superior to me, but I couldn't give it up. And you know, I find it too good, and the benefits outweigh the risks. So perhaps a subset could say no and live a higher moral ground, but I don't see that happening in the mass. I mean, we love our selfies too much, right?
Exactly. Okay, more questions?
Hi again. You just got me an idea for a question. You're obviously pro-social media. How many social accounts do you use?
I have everything. Both real and fake.
One for ex-girlfriends and one for yourself.
Exactly, yeah. No, I use everything, and I've always been that way since the beginning of my career. You know, I think it's critical to experiment, know the tools and the techniques, and stay abreast of it, and force yourself into understanding the new methods. You know, if we didn't know how to swipe left or swipe right, I wouldn't get a lot of the jokes now that we talk about.
First row. I knew it.
Although we drove yesterday for 7 hours, now I remember I have a question for you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Jan Paulo Havas as well. Okay. So the thing is, if we look at the market, and it's a big fight always. Okay, so we have two fighters, competitors. One respects ethics, and the other doesn't. In the real world, the other one that doesn't will probably be the winner. So how we could regulate that?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I think we got to talk about it. We got to make it public. We got to have the public discourse. We have to have the debate. We have to turn social media itself into the medium that enables you to have the dialogue about it. You have to expose people to an alternate viewpoint from their own to bust up the filter bubble. I mean, I like the metaphor of the village where you go to the butcher and you buy the meat from the butcher, and he may be completely not on your same political spectrum, but you talk to him and you know him and you're friendly with him. That doesn't mean that you say, no, I'm not going to go buy the meat from the butcher, right? You still go. But when we're on social, we surround ourselves with people that have the same viewpoint as our own, right? And so we will then create this echo chamber, and the algorithms have also manifested in a greater tendency of doing that. So by having the dialogue about us, talking about it, and enabling understanding of different viewpoints, that's, I think, the only way. Organized bad actors with big money is hard to win against, right? You know, we all know that. But inaction is clearly not the right way to do it, and giving up is not the way to do it. So you have to have the dialogue. And if you look at the top brands of the world, you'll see that many of them are really doing well. Like take the Colin Kaepernick Nike thing recently. I don't know if you guys have seen that. But harnessing this question about the nationalism of America to sell sneakers. All the people that went out and burnt their sneakers that they just bought, Nike's like, thank you, that's great. And also, they shifted their target market to a more valuable customer. Somebody who's buying high-end Jordans is spending $280 a pair of shoes, and a lot of the people that were burning their shoes were burning the $50 ones. So from Nike's standpoint, it's a win-win, right? And also, you're able to use the dialogue of political discourse to help sell a product. So that's a baller maneuver, and they're doing that in the right way.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions? Yeah, in the last row.
I have one comment about social media. I don't have Facebook like I'm unicorn, you said. I destroyed that, and my life is now better. Because people live in some kind of balloon. They live an artificial life. They came to New Year's party, and they wait to take a picture on the midnight. They're not living the moment. They live only on social media. And that is bad, and people are not sociable outside. When you came to bar, disco, boys are drinking in the groups, girls are in the groups. No one has guts to approach, to talk. And people are lonely because they live on the social network, and they build artificial life, not real life. And I support everyone to destroy Facebook and everything.
Burn your mobile phone.
That was spiritual.
Thank you all.
Support group.
Thank you.
Follow this man. No comment. Well, thank you very much for that comment. We're going to think about it, definitely. Any more? We are done? Or the question, okay.
Yeah, I have a comment on the anti-Facebook thing that we just had witnessed. For example, I have maybe not all of the networks, but I try them and I use them, but I still kind of approve the thing that we just heard, but not completely. I think the most problematic thing that we currently have with social networking and the internet as well is the internet is at its beginning, and we don't know how to use it. The thing with selfies and sharing and not talking is a common problem that we had through time. It's just now more visible because we all have a network on our phone that we can check. And I think we just need to learn to control ourselves. The thing to destroy it and delete it is not the solution.
It's about self-control.
It's about self-control and learning how to use it. For example, I deleted Facebook from my phone because I decided that I'm spending too much time on Messenger and that I'm getting too much non-important messages there that are taking my time. I still scroll a lot of Instagram on my phone. You cannot delete it all. But I saw a thing when I deleted Facebook from my phone, when I cut down the communications on it, the messages like downsampled, they stopped. I get a lot less messages, and I switched my clients and my friends and my work-related thing to like send me an email or send me a message. I won't see it on Facebook. I still get it from time to time, and I get a message on another thing like, hey, check your Facebook. I can't. I can check it tonight. So if you need me, send it. So I think the more important thing is that, as you discussed, the learning process, the information, and that we need to figure out. It's like I was on a previous panel where they discussed like when I think Plato was against reading books, because the idea was if the students get to read the books, they're going to get a lot of different ideas. So books were a problem in the beginning. Now we have like read more books and fuck Facebook. I'm not pro-Facebook. I think there's a lot of wrong things, and I think the worst thing is that it's mostly used against us for advertising, for commercial purpose, but it has its upsides like connecting and maybe knowing about your ex-girlfriend from high school. I'm not the one to judge. But like, so definitely the idea is not to like close yourself and delete everything, just train yourself and learn how to use things in a proper way and maybe suggest to other people and teach them how to use it in a proper way.
Thank you for a lecture.
No problem. Thank you.
A brief comment, and then we are done.
I just want to say thank you for coming today. Appreciate it. Tell your friends.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason, and see you around.